All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is the second day of October 2014. You are listening to Doomcast number 61. I am Charlie McGrath, your host and co-founder. I'm, of course, joined by Doug Owen, the Doug Owen of blacklistednews.com, co-founder of Doomcast.com. Welcome to Doomcast 61. We tried to record this a little earlier, but it's turning out it's starting exactly about the time we aim for, which is 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. But I want to welcome everybody to the program and get Doug Owen up here, sending me all kinds of show notes. We're bantering back and forth. It's going to be packed with informative things. It looks like by going over Doug's show notes here. I kind of like this show note thing, Doug.
Yeah, you should do it next week and give it to me.
I kind of like it. I think I will. if I'm not dead.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have some ideas. Kind of, I have thoughts, as I'm driving, doing other mundane things between the Doom and Hello Doom Nation.
Do you speak into your phone recording it?
No, not usually. I just jot it down. I'm kind of old school, paper, pen, whatever's around, business cards, crayons,
I like it.
Most of those things. And then when I get to the house, I'm like, I sit down and do that. So that way, some of the things that you think that are really important, you just, when you get to the show, you forget to talk about them. You're like, how could I miss that? And I do that
every single week. I do that every single week. I'm like, I need to do that because I'll hear something or read something on Monday or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bring that up, and then bam, forget about it.
Yeah,
we get derailed, and if I know us, I'm looking at these show notes. It's copious. My bet is we don't get to all of them.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to get to first, and since I'm the captain this week, and you're Tennille,
you are. Aye.
You're Gilligan. I'm the captain. You're Gilligan. Because I don't know if you know Captain and Tennille are. You're pretty young.
Okay.
You know Captain and Tennille are?
No.
Really? I'm going to play some of their music. That's what I should have played while we were waiting.
This is 80s music again?
I think it's even 70s music. Captain and Tennille. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pre-80s.
Pre-80s, okay.
I know you want me to move on, but now I'm obsessed with Captain and Tennille. The topic that obviously is stunning, right? And I have to talk about it first, mainly because my co-founder lives in Texas. That's you, Doug Owen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ebola in Texas. What the? Are you terrified? Are you freaking out? Are people freaking out? I'd be freaking out.
It's weird because you have a mixed message, and you have kind of the state and the government and health officials talking out of both sides of their mouth when it comes to the Ebola scare. So, yeah, the CDC is in town, and they have verified. They brought a sample of the Ebola to Austin, which, I talked to my dad about this. I said, the conspiracy theory on the street is that this is, an aerosolized bioweapon, probably created at Fort Detrick, maybe escaped on purpose, something to, eradicate the population. And usually he's that guy. He's like, whatever, crazy guy. He's like, it wouldn't surprise me. The U.S. government's used bioweapons in the past. So I think that we should put it out there because anything's possible, though I think it's being overhyped in the sense that if you look at other real threats, I mean, even if, let's say 30,000 people die in Texas, that still is, comparable to a seasonal flu. If you have, tens of thousands of people dying.
You don't have 30,000 people.
Is that annual? I think in the U.S., isn't it?
In the U.S., yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Maybe I was, yeah. You know what? I need to have better statistics. I had a guy who tweeted at me. He was very upset because I had said that, in Liberia, and my point was that, it's a crazy place. And if you look at the infrastructure, the hygiene of average people there, right. Just the whole scenario. I mean, they don't have waste management, right. Treatment facilities,
right.
It's open sewers. I mean, it's a place that's ripe for it. And you have a lot of dogmatic wild, crazy people. So I mean, if you look into the transgendered assassins, General Rambo, General Butt Naked, General Mosquito Spray, and the hacking off of children's genitalia, drinking their blood. There's some really screwed up stuff that's happening in Liberia, but they're not the ones necessarily that are so interested in the albinos. That's in Tanzania, and I was corrected by somebody on Twitter that said, "Get your facts straight, Doug Owen. I can't believe this. Tanzania is 3,000 miles away." And, of course, I tweeted back, it's actually 3,188 miles away. But you're pretty close. You're closer than I was. So, anyway. My point is that there's other things that are much scarier. But, I mean, just to, what was it? Just 3 days ago, we had the Department of Homeland Security saying that, be afraid, be on the alert, be on the lookout, because ISIS is going to try to use suicide Ebola victims to bring Ebola to the United States, which is kind of ironic. It's, if you believe the ongoing narrative, the current narrative, it's gross negligence, incompetence, and there's this news chopper. Okay, just to, I don't know, to feed into the idea that this has to be a psyop or the worst handling, the total debacle that has become this cleanup. They have some illegal immigrants using pressure washers to clean up the Ebola. Check out the top article at blacklistednews.com right now. Get a kick out of this. This is Thomas Duncan's puke that they're cleaning. And look at this, Charlie McGrath.
I'm looking as we speak.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So you hear that that we should be fearful, but the seasonal flu kills a lot more people, and it's not a big deal. It's not aerosolized, but then it is aerosolized, but it's not probably aerosolized, but it could be aerosolized. So I've been following the narrative.
Here's the deal, though. I mean, to be honest, to be completely genuine on it, you're right. There's more people that die from the flu because there's just a hell of a lot more people that get the flu than Ebola. If you get the flu, you have a 99% chance of not dying from it. If Ebola is aerosolized and it's as predominant, or it's as what's the word I'm looking for, ambiguous as the flu, then guess what? The flu is going to
have a much higher mortality rate if it was to be aerosolized and to travel at the same.
Yeah, because what do we got? 7,000, 7,200, 7,500 people in Africa that have contracted.
Allegedly, according to government, and the World Health Organization, the CDC, all of these people. I mean, and when you start digging into it, it's based on symptoms. It's based. I guess they have some kind of verifiable way to do this.
Yeah, they have a test for it.
But they're not going. Nobody's going to these villages and digging up bodies and confirming these are actually victims. So what happens is you might have a good ballpark number,
right? But you also have a good ballpark. I mean, if you take it as a ballpark, you know that half the people that get it are going to die, at least, or more. In Africa.
I mean, do we know that? I mean, how many people are actually living through this? How many people that are getting sick, that are scared that they're going to be quarantined in Africa, that are they're the people that won't go get vaccines, right? They're the people that are like, no, the UN's coming, blue helmets, run. So you're not going to get a real, true, accurate picture because those people, they're trying to escape. They have, 1.2 million people in Sierra Leone that are quarantined. Now, they're not quarantining them very well, but the U.S., and we're not seeing anything about the 3,000 troops that are now being put into, or via AFRICOM being put into action on the African continent. So, the whole thing just seems awfully sketchy. But, yeah, you could die of just about anything, and people are dying of, malnutrition, starvation, all from, just a bevy of different diseases and things that could be, considered, flu-like symptoms. Right. So my whole point is that we don't really know. I mean, it could be a pandemic, and what's not happening is anything that seems logical. But, this is now going to be the conversation. They've ordered Thomas Duncan and 4 of his family members, and now the 100 people that he may have been in contact with, including children. They're going to try to find some legal framework to go after these families to quarantine them. So right now it's kind of a gentleman's agreement, or, it's just a,
No, I thought that changed today. I thought that changed when they had the gentleman, hey, please stay in your house, to the family, gentleman's agreement.
Right, but the conversation now will become, regardless of the situation down the road, this thing's going to get kicked. It's going to be it's so politicized already. It's going to be well, what do we need to do? We need to have some kind of contingency plan. We need a legal reason to be able to do this next time.
Ebola martial law.
Well, yeah. I mean, you always, I guess, you have a state of emergency, but I think they're going to try to codify more, because this is the thing. I don't think it's the gross negligence. The fact that he had been to Liberia, he came back, he was sick. Now the Liberian government wants to charge him because he knew he was sick. And here's the thing. I mean, we have to live under this police state theater that is just, here's another example. Okay. Top doctor gets on a plane. Okay. He has a full hazmat suit as a protest about the lying CDC.
Yeah.
Really? They let this guy in a hazmat suit onto the plane? I don't buy this for a moment. I mean, we've seen protesters at the TSA. They're not letting you on the plane. I mean, it's absurd to think that these things are somehow being positioned. I mean, I have a lot more questions about this, but.
Well, I guess it falls under the camp of, if you believe that it's a grand aerosolized, weaponized Ebola to wipe out population, then you can believe all this stuff because it's been designed to do just that. Or I guess you could believe that it's nothing more than just another virus that's somewhat more lethal than flu.
Oh, a lot more lethal. I mean, yeah. I mean, don't kid yourself. But I mean, I'm just,
Well, which one? Which one is it? Do you believe that it's? What do you believe, Doug Owen? Do you think this is created in a lab at Fort Detrick and it got out? Or they let it out so that they could wipe out mass populations in Africa, so they could more easily get in there and go after the resources? Or do you think it's just a naturally occurring thing that is pretty damn deadly, more deadly in the third world than it's going to be here? Nothing to freak out about.
Zbigniew Brzezinski said it best. It's easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control 1 million people. It's a lot easier to kill 1 million people than feed 1 million people. So I think that it's not going to spread as prolifically as it has in...
That was the word I was looking for earlier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Prolifically.
You could use that. Yeah, I mean... I don't think that it would, we'll see. I mean, I think that the response in now using all of these other medical tyrannies, you've got the integration with the Medical Records Modernization Act, putting all of your information into centralized databases, tearing down that privacy so that they can share this with the Department of Homeland Security, with the new threat matrix, putting this, into the fusion centers, because the gross negligence, the incompetence, the piss poor handling. I mean, we've spent effing billions of dollars preparing the United States to keep us safe from something like this. And it's not ISIS that had brought it to the United States. It's, the police state, the ineffective, travel system. I mean,
yeah, it certainly.
And the solution, like I said before, is going to be the real scary thing. Probably more scary than Ebola itself. I mean, ultimately, it always is. The fear never lives up to the problems or the reality of whatever it is never quite lives up to the fear that they put into us about, said consequence from not listening to the government, not giving up our rights, and not giving them more tax money and letting them expand the government.
Well, I guess either way you could look at it like this. It's a crisis. Obviously, in Africa, it's a crisis. Regardless, Doug, I mean, I don't know if the stats can be quantified with 100% assurity. However, it is a crisis. There's thousands of people that have already dead, thousands infected. It's still out of control. They don't have, they don't have a handle on it. They're not containing it. And regardless of if this is New World Order engineering or not, you can be rest assured this crisis, as we've heard time and time again, will not go to waste. And I agree with you. The overall outcome, the hysteria that's going to come out of this is going to lead to one thing: more loss of your freedom, and it's going to be for your own good, guys. It's going to be, we're protecting you from ISIS on this hand. We're going to protect you from African Ebola on this hand.
And I'm buying Clorox because I think that they're going to, find a new venue for killing Ebola, and it's going to definitely shoot their stock prices up. I also think that HazMat suits are a good thing to invest in or to buy into. Sell. We could start a company and scare people and tell them that they need HazMat suits, and we'll sell them to them. These are survival suits, and they keep you protected from the Ebola.
Yeah, well, let's face it. I mean, the survival industry has flourished over the last several years. But as far as the hazmat aspect of it, I think it's been probably a little bit wanting. So I'm more than sure you're correct. I mean, we could get on our websites, we could get on YouTube and create a frenzy and sell hazmat suits and do probably pretty dang well. The Tyvek hazmat suits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that probably don't do much for you with Ebola. Apparently, I mean, I don't know how this is being contracted. If it's just that sloppy,
I read into
if it's
that
just
a bit.
that highly, if it's that really highly infective, then you would think that the massive concentrations of populations, especially on the African continent, that it would be public transit. I mean, all of that. I mean,
Well, I actually through a friend got information from a virologist on how this is spread, because the CDC, the reports from the media that are trying to calm the people, and that's another aspect of it, the freak out effect that could occur with this. But the message that's delivered out there, I think you'd agree with me, is it's very difficult to get this. You have to, first of all, you have to come in contact with somebody that's already in symptom. Right, and then you have to exchange bodily. No, I shouldn't say exchange. You have to get their bodily fluids onto you. But if that were the case, then how is it? How are so many people in Africa coming down with Ebola? Because if it's not a simple matter of airborne, could you get it when you cough? Can you get it when you sneeze and you're breathing in those little globules that people are throwing out there? And the roundabout answer that I got was, yeah, you can. If you ingest or get in your eyes this their affected fluid, then you can get it. Now, I was told, this is as I trust the source on it. As far as skin contact goes, or sweat to sweat type of contact, it would have to actually hit an open wound on your body. So I don't know. See, in some ways, I think it's hype to keep the people calm. In other ways, I think it's reverse hype because, or maybe this would be to keep the people calm too, but reverse hype because they know it's a lot more contagious than it really is. One thing is for sure, regardless of what form of virus it is right now, or how it can be contracted, it can and will probably mutate into something else, and that something else could be, airborne contraction of the Ebola virus.
All right, so conspiracy theories, takeaways, predictions, anything you want to put on the record? I think that would be used as a justification for needing quarantines and revisiting that. I think they're going to be giving a lot of money to private contractors to, of course, build the infrastructure for this, maybe revamping a lot of laws and using this as cover, as usual, for probably some other pretty draconian and otherwise, I think, well refuted unpopular things that are, happening right now. Arming the Syrians, nobody cares anymore. The world's got so many other crises that are happening. There's so many other things to be scared of. Here's one that was a big popular story yesterday. You're familiar with Cody Wilson, right? The guy from the 3D gun, the 3D plastic gun.
Right, 3D printer gun.
Right. Well, he's come back, and he's got a very scary and looming project called It's called Ghost Gunner. So there's now the ability to buy, and I've got the video there at blacklistednews.com, or you can find it, the threat level and a lot of other websites and reported on this. You can basically buy a metal maker bot that can copy a lower receiver, and you can make the ghost gun. In this video, I mean, if you're trying to actually, show some of the benefits of, this open source, freely available resource to build firearms or whatever you want. I mean, I think that it's limiting, and that's why I have a lot of questions about Cody Wilson. I mean, these things look really slick. You should see the presentation.
Right.
And if you haven't seen the presentation, if you have, you know it's really
cool.
slick.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's showing you the gun, and really, I think it's kind of it's one of these things designed to make politicians fearful and want to regulate. It's something that you can look at when when Dianne Feinstein's trying to get more gun legislation passed, to restrict.
You think he's working for gun control?
Well, if he's not, he's definitely. I think it's a great debate, the open source aspect to it, but I think that it makes it seem evil. I think it makes it seem dangerous that these are anarcho-capitalists that are gonna, have weapons, and what are they gonna do with them? And
they're coming to get us.
They're coming, and of course, they're
going to open the borders for the ISIS Ebola bombers,
Islamic State, ISIL, the Levant and beyond, Kurdistan, Army of the Kurds. All these things seem pretty passé. I mean,
yeah, it's really. You're right, and good call, because obviously this week the Ebola thing has wiped everything else out. I mean, nothing else is being talked about, and there is a lot of fear right now. But it's God, Doug, I can understand that fear, and I can also see the next black swan. I'm talking about, where the threat isn't there, but the hysteria is. I mean, I was thinking about this today, and I'm kind of circling back to Ebola again. But let's say the 18 family members, the 100 people that could have been exposed to it. I mean, if one child in one school was found to have Ebola, and it was spread because of this guy coming back from Africa, I can't even imagine the pandemonium. I try to put it in perspective of what I would want to do. If there was a Ebola victim in my town, and it was spread into my kid's school, that'd be it. It would be, I'm using all my bug out stuff right now, and I'm bugging in. He wouldn't go to school. I wouldn't go to work.
I'm putting up construction plastic and duct tape, two most important things.
That's right.
If that happens. I mean, there was the measles outbreak. Remember, everybody was freaking out. The measles outbreak, it's coming back, and the kids are unvaccinated, and they're spreading it. Oh my God! And you're like, well, how many people have it? And they're like, 30. Oh, did any of them die? Nobody, but they all had sniffly noses and they itched a lot. Oh. Well, so I think Ebola is definitely more,
Yeah, it's going to kill a lot of people.
It's going to kill a lot of people, but the people it doesn't kill is rich white people. So there's something to be said for that.
Well, it's still going to kill me then.
Yeah, we're all in that.
Yeah, we're doing.
But can I get the vaccine that Philip Morris has been working on with the Chinese? Actually, I think Iran says that they have a vaccine. I wouldn't take that either. There's another Asian country, Thailand, maybe Thailand. Has a vaccine that they're saying, and who knows? I mean, these guys, they don't have any regulation. God only knows what kind of, island of Dr. Moreau stuff they're making there.
They got going on, yeah. Yeah.
You want a glowing dog? Just like your last one, we cloned one. It's good.
You want a dog cat? We'll make it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, and people still think that that's like in the future. Dolly, okay? They have a sheep that they have a sheep that has spider genes that they milk, and it makes Kevlar and super high tensile strength polymers that, I mean, it actually oozes out of these.
Yeah, and is it even,
and it's like 20 years old.
Isn't it even? I've read that before. But is it even more strong than Kevlar? It's like, super silk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, just legalize hemp. It would be fine. You could make some pretty strong stuff.
The point was this, though.
You don't have to put spider genes into freaking sheep. It's just creepy. Or goats, rather.
The point was this, though. You can see a scenario, all right, where even, let's say, 100 people in a major city die, contract Ebola and die. But maybe 1,000 contract it, 100 die from it. And that's a pretty low mortality rate for the reputation of Ebola. But that could happen relatively quickly. If that did happen, it would seize Dallas. It would seize it. Everything would shut down. Nobody's going to the grocery store. Nobody's showing up at McDonald's. No police are going to go show up unless they got the Doug Owen hazmat suit. I mean, you could see it grinding a nation. If you had 3 or 4 major cities that had an outbreak, you could see it grinding a nation to a halt, be it mainly hysteria or legitimate killer.
I've seen an inch of snow take Austin, Texas to the brink and shut it down for days. You get snow, sleet, people will shut it down. It'll be shut down. You'll probably be able to go to stores, but everybody will be wearing a mask. And, I don't know. It's weird. You ever see the Asian people, especially the more affluent ones, the well-off people in the nicer neighborhoods?
I've been in China. I've been.
They all wear masks.
Yeah,
They're just
I was the only idiot, walking in Beheading China without a mask on.
They're all like, yeah, you see this thing after one day, it's brown. You shouldn't be breathing this, guy. Yeah, so... Yeah, I think that's what the world would look like if we had Ebola. I think that we would be buying a lot of bleach and a lot of people would freak out and then things would go back to normal. I mean, because we've had Ebola. We've never had, such an interconnected world. But, ultimately, does the fear justify the police state, the solution for Ebola? And that's, I think that's yet to be seen. I think that there's a lot of... there's a lot of really nasty things, super bugs, other viruses. There's an unknown virus that's killed 50 children plus, and those are just the reports lately that nobody really understands.
Are you talking about the interviral 68 or whatever?
Yeah. That's killing.
I thought it had only taken one kid so far, but it's a respiratory virus that is hitting younger folk. And it was, I believe, reported now in 36 states, and my state's one of them. So I did a little reading on that. But to my knowledge, this was as of yesterday, at least, an establishment media article that I read on it. There was the first death was attributed to that intravirus.
Yeah, and kid killed. Dead. Let's see what it says here.
A lot of them had sniffling noses.
42 states reporting respiratory virus that targets kids. Let's see. 4 people infected with the virus have died in recent weeks. Blah blah blah. So it just depends on maybe I got the 42. Yeah, and who knows how many more people have died that they haven't attributed to? Because and this is the thing, you just don't know. And what they want is, we need better statistics. Yeah, and I'm okay with not knowing the number rather than having a medical tyranny.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I do. And my perspective... See, I feel bad because my perspective on this is uncharacteristic for me. I am dubious of, threats. I'm dubious of them because of exactly what you're saying. They always lead to suspension of your freedom and more encroachment by government. But I don't know why this thing has me leaning more towards we got to get this thing under control. And if it's not Ebola, then something. And
avocados are green, therefore fall under the vegetable category.
Everything that comes from a tree.
You can't hear that, but there's a thing on the CNN Health. Respiratory virus suspected in Midwest children's hospitalizations. So this is pretty bad. This seems like Ebola. And maybe it is Ebola, Well, we don't know, but this is something else that maybe they released out of Fort Detrick. Or maybe it's just a virus that is mutating because of a variety of reasons. You go into speculation, conjecture land, but the thing that I always look at is, what is the consequence? What is the solution? Who's selling the solution? Who's profiting from the solution? And do I want to buy in? So, and usually I don't. So there's not too many.
I am too, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to buy into that we need to go to war with Iraq again. I don't buy into we got to bomb the hell out of Syria. I don't buy into all of the things that are these threats that are put.
I mean,
before
do you
us.
believe that there's 192,000 people that Bashar al-Assad has killed, and that those are primarily civilians? Do you think that those civilians? I mean, here's a perfect example. We're talking about numbers. And the civilian casualties from the latest bombings, without congressional approval, but the latest coalition of bombings completely eradicates civilian deaths from those numbers. So when we look at the civilian numbers of dead that we can attribute to Bashar al-Assad, and I'm not a fan of Bashar al-Assad, I'm not an apologist by any stretch of the imagination, but when we look at those numbers, they're really horrific. 192,000 people confirmed. Okay, well, maybe. How many of those are actually Syrians? Who knows? How many of them are foreign fighters? How many people are legitimate terrorists? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? How many of these people are civilians? Why does it only matter when he kills civilians, but when we kill civilians, it's not a big deal at all? You look at the Sandy Hook report. There's no dead kids at Sandy Hook, according to the FBI. Why? It's not the grand conspiracy that they've covered this up. It shows you that they don't care about portraying the truth. It's about portraying an agenda.
That's exactly right. It's about portraying a stage. It's a stage that you're building,
right?
And I'm Assad, 100-some thousand civilians. I don't buy any of that.
But now 192. I mean, he's killed 100,000 people. And we haven't heard anything about it. We don't even get any media.
And how many? But we don't hear about the tens of thousands of civilians in Fallujah that were killed at our hands and inside of Iraq. But back to Assad, I believe that everything that's happened. I'm not an apologist for him either. However, I believe that what you have there is a CIA Western-backed terrorist network that is biting us in the ass right now. That is being used to try to dismantle Assad and get rid of him. So is civilians being killed? Yeah, they're being killed. They're being killed on both sides, and for them to hoist up, the killing by the Syrian army as the reason why we need to go back into war, it's super easy if you're a thinking person at all to hoist up, the hundreds of thousands of people are dead in Iraq that were civilians that should scream the United States needs to stay the hell out of this region of the world.
Well, I was listening to not to Victoria Nuland's husband, Kagan, but his brother, one of the architects of the Iraq War. Yeah. And he was on the PBS NewsHour, and of course, you know that I watch this, and this is where I find the best propaganda. Watch it, people. It's well worth watching it. It's on your PBS station, so if you have open air, bunny ears, you can still get it. And it's very enlightening.
Don't you have to have HD bunny ears?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on a tube TV, you're probably just watching VHS tapes of, Malcolm in the Middle or something. I don't know. But
yeah.
If you live in the now and you've accepted the HD, and I know that it's the mark of the beast, and I'm well aware when I'm watching this. Anyway, he goes into justifying, saying, well, the plan that we had, even though they sold, they're going to create this as liberators. It's going to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, no big deal. We're going to, get all the oil money, and we'll take care of the people better than Saddam Hussein ever thought of, because, his kids are beating up Olympic stars and torturing them.
Throwing them into wood chippers.
Yeah, I mean, some pretty heinous shit, man. I mean, just horrible stuff that he's doing. We're going to be better than that. We're going to do it. Well, and you start looking into the plan. Well, it was never ending. We spent, and this is the truth. Okay, the Iraqi military, the army, is the most expensively and most well-trained, equipped, built, but they don't have an Air Force. Why don't they have an Air Force? Well, because the plan was never-ending U.S. occupation. And that's basically what Mr. Kagan Just look into to these clowns. These are the guys that are the architects of the New World Order.
Sure.
And I should just pull them up. I mean, Victoria Nuland's husband and his brother they're the heads of PNAC. All of the Project for a New American Century, and what you're seeing play out today is this never-ending war into perpetuity forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And so, they're blaming this on Obama because, we decided to pull out. Now, the original people that actually supported this never-ending occupation of the oil wells in the Middle East, and I think that what they're pushing for now, I mean, I'll jump the gun here, is for a pan-Arab state, creating a solid state, that's friendly to the U.S., that can to negotiate with the UN, that has a state that can provide oil contracts and legal basis for the continual exploration and exploitation of the region, or of the continent, of the countries that would fall under this new framework, is ultimately what they want, because that's what the multinational companies need. That's what businesses want. You have the Chinese, you have the Russians, you have all of these other people that are investing. You want one single entity that you can put some legitimacy behind, get it to stick, and get it just like the Libya solution. So create a central bank and get it in debt to the IMF, and then they'll buy some military weapons, and then we'll train them. So anyway,
sure.
I mean,
it's propping the global economy, and it's doing it by means of disgusting, savage violence.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it just sounds so pragmatic. Oh, well, I mean, this is what happens because you decided that you wanted out of this never-ending war. And, yeah, we sold you on some bull crap, but it was really easy to do because you're such dumb people that aren't informed. You're not even watching the PBS NewsHour.
The heck with them, Doug Owen.
Why would you think that you could ever stop the war? I don't know why you would think that you could just do that and it'd be okay.
That I don't care if it's far blue left representative that we get in the office next, or a John McCain. That war ain't stopping. I mean, okay. We're pushing 2 decades now. In fact, I mean, you could argue back to 91 when we first put our military boots on the ground there. This thing is going to go on for 100 frickin' years because the powers that be, the architects, want it that way.
Yeah, Robert Kagan, he is an American historian, author, columnist, foreign policy commentator at the Brookings Institution, the Brookings Institution, co-founder of the Project for a New American Century. Kagan is senior fellow at the Brookings Institution and a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Where's my soundboard? I need a ding. I deserve a freaking ding for this because, well, anybody could do it, but there we go. No, better one. There we go.
That's a way better one.
So Robert Kagan, he's married to who? Victoria Nuland. Okay, and who has he served under? Hillary Clinton, John McCain. He is a guy that spent 13 years with who? The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He's part of John McCain's Republican Party to get him elected in 2008. He is the architect of neoconservatism. This is the guy. He's like, oh, you stupid idiots. It was an act. You can't stop the machine. And of course, he's super pro-Israel. This is all to protect our good buddies over there in Israel and provide security, and we have to go after the Iranians. So, I mean, you do see some of the defection, I think, and the policy. The Israelis definitely not nearly as loved as they once were, and not nearly as virtuous in the minds of all the academics and wonks there at the Brookings Institute. Susan Rice and the like are like, oh, well, I mean, I think John Kerry's the spokesperson for that. You guys have to be nicer to the Palestinians. And it's all lip service. They're just a bunch of scumbags. And anyway, I mean, it's not too hard to find the head on this dragon and to slay it.
Be careful.
Why? I mean,
you're talking about slaying dragons.
Yeah, I mean, this is the scam, and this is
I'm just saying
the
talk like
Corsan
that
group, this group that we just created on Wikipedia that you have to be very scared of. I mean, they behead people even more gruesomely. It's even more scary. They're beheading children. They're cutting off little girls' heads. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And the solution is always more of the same.
It's all about fear. Fear, fear, fear. Inwardly turn towards your nation and don't pay attention to what's happening on the periphery with the government. You are supposed to turn inward and be afraid and pray to that government to protect you. And as what we've talked about tonight proves that point. It doesn't matter if it's Ebola, it doesn't matter if it's ISIS or the new Khorasans. It doesn't matter. You have to be afraid all the time, because if you're not, then you might take a little offense to the crap that's going on. You might take a little offense to the loss of your personal freedom and the loss of your privacy and the loss of the destiny of this country, your financial future. You might get offended if you weren't so damn afraid all the time. But talk like this can maybe get you up on a list that won't allow you to have a YouTube channel or a Twitter page. I see that in your
You know what? Before we get there, and I know where we're going, I wanted to mention this, okay? This is Kagan, okay? Robert Kagan. This is Victoria Nuland's husband. In 2003, Kagan's book, Of Paradise and Power, America and Europe in the New World Order, published on the eve of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, created something of a sensation through the assertions that Europeans tended to favor peaceful resolutions of international disputes, while the United States was more of a Hobbesian. I don't even know what that is. I'll have to Google this. Hobbesin, Hobbesian view, in which some kinds of disagreement can only be settled by force. As he put it, quote, Americans are from Mars and Europe is from Venus. New York Times reviewer Ivo H. Dadler wrote, when it comes to settling national priorities, determining threats, okay, these are the people that are connected to the SiteNet. I mean, the same people, what's her face, Dr. Katz, that have brought us all of these beheading videos. Okay, they are just, I mean, they're 1 degree away from Mr. Kagan. It's like being the best friend of I don't know.
Is it your Charlie to my Doug? That close?
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. So anyway, foreign policy, implementing U.S. defense policies. The United States and Europe have parted ways, and Kagan says that the Americans need to use that force. We have to be. It's this self-righteous need for a vacuum. And we talked about this before. I think one of the Doomcasts back in the 20s, where we were talking about the Bill Kristol and the Trotskyites and the whole idea of neoconservatism. These are all the same people. And on the come on. On the eve of the invasion, he has a book written about the New World Order. But if you talk about the New World Order, and if you were talking about it in 2003, Phil Donahue, was chunked. You couldn't even talk about the war. You couldn't even make fun of Bush without being, a terrorist. Now, 10 years, 11 years after the fact, it's so apparent to me who the architects of this are.
We've been immersed into the slime altogether, Doug Owen.
Yeah. But how many Americans actually know that this creep wrote this book that basically laid out the American vision? And that's what it is. It's a utopian, crazy vision. And they've spent $7 trillion and they have basically wasted away the fruits of our labor and our credibility and our ability to protect ourselves even. We've spent so much money on security theater and creating this Gestapo that serves almost no purpose even to the elites that have created it. It's so ridiculous.
Well, your point back to, all the way back to the beginning about the failure of the police state and the ability for Ebola to make it to Texas. It's just a glaring example. It's broke on every front, but we are broke from the implementation of it.
One of the things that we should get to, and you were getting to, there is no social media for crazy people like us. Charlie
That's
McGrath
right.
in the
That's right. Just about everything that we've said tonight. Michael Snyder, he does a great job. This is from one of his articles, but just about everything that we've talked about tonight, and in past Doomcasts, the other 60 of them, they're pretty much covered. I mean, excuse me.
Oh no, you've got Ebola. Ebola. Oh no. How are you doing over there, Charlie McGrath?
Wrong.
Don't take that beer down the wrong pipe.
Too late.
So anyway, while Charlie gets his wind beneath his wings there, David Cameron has some pretty interesting ideas. Oh, and you know what?
Yeah.
Now that you're alive and you're still there, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the 9/11 truther that has been taken into custody because of his beliefs and because of 9/11 truth in the UK because of David Cameron's new law, which isn't quite even a law yet, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Hold on. I gotta...
This is crazy. I'm choking to death over here on nothing.
Are you?
Yeah.
You need a...
I need Allison C. And thanks to my good friend Jeff Rentz, I have some now. He sent me some.
You might want one of those other things, respiratory things.
What the heck was that? It came out of nowhere. I inhaled and lost it. I mean, I lost it all there from it. That was crazy. But I do want to talk about this list. I mean, it's just yet another example of how everything in technology is great for us, Owen. It getting out a message or transferring the information, the exchange of information and ideas to like-minded people. But as we see, as fear is still the doctrine, the people that want to use this for something more than pop culture, they're rapidly, we saw this with the MIAC report, right? Where if you're a Ron Paul supporter, then you're a potential terrorist. If you're ex-military, potential terrorist. And now we're seeing just the expanding of using fear, of the expanding of destruction of liberty. And now if you fall into a very wide range of categories, you could be banned from any kind of social media.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, anything that spreads hate, promotes hate. What could that be? Holocaust denial? Oh, I was actually looking for this guy. Sorry. You know what? I was worried about you, and I was looking for this 9/11 truther that has allegedly been taken into custody, and I can only find stuff on global research. So it's like, let me just put truther into my make
and I apologize for not shutting off my mic when I went into my hacking fit.
That's okay.
But I can't shut it off.
Search truther.
It won't shut off. It's a blue snowball.
Oh crap! There's got to be truther in this.
You look at that, and I'll go down some of these things that you could be deemed not worthy of participating in social media. Those that like to talk about individual liberties. That's something that we saw that in the MIAC report. People that were pro-liberty, anti-government were to be considered potential domestic terrorists. Those that advocate for states' rights, again, those that want to make the world a better place. I mean, this is crazy. And this is from Michael Snyder over at the Economic Collapse blog.
Well, yeah, and what he's talking about is this proposal by David Cameron to make it where the extremists have to vet their extremism through the government and get a permit to put out their political ideas. They want to actually, it goes beyond just social media. They have new sweeping rules that are planned to bar people from public speaking at events, to actually
this is above and beyond free speech zone type things.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean you have to, you can't basically propagandize or propagate your belief system, and you have to do that if it's radical Islam, or if you're an extremist group, or maybe you don't think that the Holocaust happened, or maybe you're anti-gay, maybe you believe that immigration, you're anti-immigrant. I mean, think about all of the people that could be under this. I've seen cases in the U.S., stupid ones, but and it shows you how ridiculous some of the people that get a little bit of power end up being. But banning kids from wearing American flags or from hanging the American flag because it could offend somebody. And see, in the story itself, if you crack these things, you find out, well, there's some rebel guy. It's like, screw you, get out of here, you damn Packy. And so they're like, okay, look, you're really just trying. America, eat America, bud. So, they go after like one person. They create some ridiculous Orwellian, draconian law to go after this one individual that was just being heinous. And you end up in a politically correct nightmare where people can't wear American flags because it's deemed offensive, which is just ridiculous. And you find the people that did it, and it's just some idiot.
But if I was in some of these things on this list, the
Patriot movement, maybe you're a sovereign citizen. Maybe you don't believe that taxes are real. Maybe you have.
What the hell, Owen? I mean, is it not my right to be anti-gay if I want to be anti-gay or anti-immigrant or anti-Muslim or the Patriot movement? Or if I want states' rights? I mean, is this now literally turning into the spotlight to where you can have these views, but you can't participate with the rest of the kids? If you have views like this, then you can't have a Twitter account. You can't have a YouTube channel because you're just too damn dangerous if you're in the Patriot movement.
Yeah, you're just too. Yeah, this is the thing. Okay, here it is. I see this on activist post. This 9/11 truther allegedly, because of after this, there was this guy that is a Holocaust denier. He doesn't believe the gas chambers are real, and I think that there's probably forensic evidence to look at there. I think that don't tell me this. Come on. So this guy has apparently, and I want to get his name, and I'm working really hard over here to try to get this dude's name. But
get his name.
I don't think that he was really arrested, but I think that this is just one of those hoosgals that got the alternative media. This 9/11 truther surrenders. 9/11 truth activist surrenders to UK police for quote unquote non-violent extremism following the Cameron speech. I think this is a little publicity stunt. But a lot of people ran this story. Oh, man, I was looking at this guy. Really?
What's his name, Owen? What's his name?
I don't know. I'm trying to find it. I just need to Google this.
Yeah, Google 9/11 UK truther arrested.
Surrenders. He surrendered to UK police. Here we go. God, I go down all these stupid rabbit holes for this radio show.
Too many tabs open. You don't know what's going on.
God, here we go. This comes from InfoWars. So, UK author and activist who worked to expose the truth behind the London 7/7 bombings and the 9/11 attacks attempted to turn himself into the authorities. A demonstration aimed at highlighting the absurdity behind. See, they've corrected this. This is a little publicity stunt, and his name's Nick Collarstorm, because he basically tried to surrender. He didn't actually have. But see, this is the thing. They ran this story, making it sound like this 9/11 truther was being stalked by the government, and the government was coming after 9/11 truthers.
This is his way to protest this legislation.
Yes.
Wow. We waited a long time for that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just like it's almost like that Charlie Sheen thing. Well, he talked to Obama about 9/11 truth. You're like, really? He talked to Obama about 9/11 truth? Well, no, that's not really what happened. But you clicked on that article, didn't you? Yes, and
it leads you there. Yeah,
I wasted my time talking about this because I thought, okay, look, people have been goosed by this, and people were goosed. They totally got onioned on that one. So
I think you got onioned on it a little bit.
No, I knew it was an onion, and I just wanted to prove it. And because I didn't think that the government had codified any laws, and they were going after any 9/11 truthers. Although,
well, there you go. You know what? There you go. We just proved Doug Owen and his ability to assess situations and analyze situations was 100% right. He didn't know that it was a ruse or it was a protest until just at this moment. But you had an idea. You thought in your mind that it was.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely a ruse, or it wasn't as it seemed. No doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point where we have to do this because we have 5 people that were beheaded in videos, and you've never seen the beheading, and it might have happened, but maybe it didn't. I hate to be that rude guy that would dare question the reality. And here's the other thing. I wonder if this is what I think. Okay, most of these guys that are on the ground as, AFP journalists, other independent journalists that used to work with USAID, blah, 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 are probably U.S. spies. And we saw the decapitation of the counter-ISIS groups. So maybe these guys were, onto something, and they were conveniently targeted and assassinated.
In watching those videos, I am convinced. I think they happened outside of Vegas somewhere. I really do.
Is that where Jihad Johnny lives, or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
or whatever.
UK Jihad Johnny.
I shouldn't laugh about it, because these people I think that they probably were killed by somebody, but it wasn't.
I don't even. It just. I don't know, and I'm with you. You feel like a heartless bastard.
Yeah.
If you're
hurting the victims, Charlie McGrath. You're hurting their as if they listened to the Doomcast, and as if they're hurt.
If they did, that it would be hurtful to them.
He said nasty things on the internet. Oh, he's saying things that aren't true. I get those every.
Get them off the internet. If he's saying things that are nasty on the internet, they can't.
That's right.
We're going to end up on that list.
Yeah, if you hurt people's feelings, that means you're a bully.
We talked about that a few dooms ago, but it was the whole production value, the cutting away, and literally sawing on the.
You were the first one out of the gate to call it. You and Craig, producer Craig 33 on Twitter, was right there before I even saw the video. And now in the UK, you might be a terrorist for just watching the video. It may be illegal to see the video. They've got a lot of new ideas for new laws to help make it safe.
Thought laws,
because God knows that Twitter is a dangerous place, and apparently even if you're ISIS, you can Indiegogo billions of dollars and take over the illicit underground refinery trades that bring you in millions of US dollars. I don't know. It just seems like it'd be really easy to get these people. This seems very, very fake and stupid.
And BS. I dropped the S-bomb. I'm all sweary tonight.
It's funny. If you showed this to a kid, they're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, I go back to the bird beheading, and I did that in the program, a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But I believe that happened. I honestly, just my own opinion, I believe that happened only because the guttural noises, the spraying of blood, and even the grainy quality of somebody holding a handy camera while this thing's happening. If it didn't happen, it was a whole hell of a lot more believable than this calm guy who's giving a speech on why he hates America and begging his brother not to continue the bombing, and then all of a sudden a knife cut away. There's a head on the body.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to do this, though, because we are almost out of time. And Kyle B. Oh, come on, computer. Do not lock up on me. You know what? We're both having computer goofs tonight. I know the amount he gave. It was $88.88, which I thought was funny.
Nice.
And there was a message with it. But Kyle, my computer seized up, and I only have your name. I don't have your message here. So
paid $88 for that. My God, we got to do better. We got to do better. You need a spreadsheet. See, now you've got. Here's the thing. Now you've got my notes. Now you know the other support that we received this week. Pretty impressive stuff. And the riddle. There's a riddle there too.
Wait a minute, I'm not done, because Sarah K, she came through as she always does, and with her donation as well every month. And we love Sarah K. And I'm really, really sorry, Kyle. I can't read your message now, but I'm completely seized up. So next week I'll make sure that I read Sarah's and I read Kyle's. But give me the riddle.
You'll get some redemption. First off, let's go to Laura in Carlsbad, California, and say thank you for $100 for the Doom Nation. So that's pretty nice. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And Kowalski, I think, or Kowalski is how you say it. The Last American Hero, he says, guess the movie. And I was investigating this, and he gave us $20 as well. Super Soul, there's a radio station named Kowalski in honor of the last American hero whose speed means freedom of the soul. So that was it, but there were some other Kowalskis that may have done it. So I don't know. That might be the riddle, but it was funny because prior to the show, you're over there trying to save your son who's being beaten up on the football field. I'm over here looking up movies on IMDb for Kowalski and what that might mean.
Kowalski, no, I don't have a computer right now, but that was I've heard that in movies before, almost like an Animal House type movie,
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we got resounding support this week. So
we did. God bless you, Doomer Nation.
Kudos to you out there.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
So it's great. We do the show every week. It's open source. You don't have any commercial advertisers. We are uncompromisable. We do this show with your support exclusively, and your investment in the show continues to manifest in so many different ways. The conversation continues. We've had a lot of fun doing this, and it has probably been one of the most honest and pure and fun things that I have been a part of in the podcast independent media realm. And just being completely candid and finding that people, even though we do need more support, do find this to be valuable and entertaining, and even the people that are critical. I appreciate you guys too, because that means you're listening to the show and you're holding us to account. And I don't mind correcting myself. I'm not one of these egomaniacs that can't be wrong. I'm usually trying to make a point, and maybe I don't do that very well. Maybe I should have better. I've got notes. I've got a lot of notes, but we go all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that we didn't even get to today. So,
there is a lot of good stuff we didn't get to, but you're beating yourself up, Doug. You do explain yourself well, and I think most of the comments and messages we get are in support of you and both of us. But yeah, if you disagree, there's even a number you can call to disagree. What is it?
It's 512-222-3067. It's the text line. You can text us, voicemail us, drop us lines. The hilarity continues on almost a daily basis. If you think that you're being abducted, you can call me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, preferably. It's wide open season for trolls. So if you're out there, you might if you're really good, if you're a great troll, you will make your way into being a character on this show.
And of course, I want to thank producer Craig 33, always doing a great job, working hard, making.
He made waves this week with the imagery on Doomcast number 60.
Yeah, I know, I loved it. Wait till you see 61. Did you see it already?
I already saw it. Yeah. We didn't even talk about the co-opted Chinese, or at least the blame is being put on George Soros and the U.S. State Department for orchestrating the unrest in China. But what can the CIA not take a little bit of claim for? So that we didn't get to it. So that's why I think Craig has to do it after the show. You really have to do it after the show because, we have a huge amount of notes, but we don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. But sometimes...
Yeah, usually they're...
He's good at knowing kind of where we're at, and at least things that are relevant. And I think that, something like that picture is very iconic for the time. So, yeah, it's great. I can't be... critical.
I think he's trying to spread the work out a little bit, So he's getting the images ready, and then he's got time to work on the mix up and all that. And
we need more money so we can pay Craig. We can actually pay him because his internship is it's running out.
Yeah, it's almost done.
Feel bad. We might have to actually pay him something at some point for doing this. So,
my name is Charlie McGrath. My website is wideawakenews.com. My co-founder, my friend, is Doug Owen. His news website is blacklistednews.com. You can contact Doug at blacklistednews.com. You can contact me at info@wideawakenews.com. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us on Doomcast 61, and we'll be back next week. Doug will be driving the ship, and I'll be Gilligan on Doomcast number 62. Have a good night.